Hi, this is Carl the Cobra Frutch, and you're watching Lights Out.
This is Faisal for Lights Out, proudly sponsored by Spartans Law. Delighted to be joined by Eddie Hearn. Eddie, a boxing on a Sunday night, just a few hours after the first domestic cup final. You've really given me an evening to look forward to.
Exactly. I just think that, obviously there's another fight on Saturday that was already scheduled. There's always the argument about trying not to clash with other fight nights. I've always felt that Sunday nights had a lot of potential. We'll see. Now, it's a bit difficult from a live gate experience, but let's see how it does in terms of the viewing numbers. And I think I'm a fan, I'm the target market, and I know Sunday at 4 or 5 o'clock I'm looking for things to watch. So a good night of boxing, which this is, I think will do really well.
Not disappointed that you won't have one eye on the cup final on Sunday night?
Say that again?
Not disappointed that you won't be able to watch the cup final on Sunday night?
No, I'm not mad on my football, to be honest with you. But what time does that finish? 5, 6 o'clock, something like that?
Well, hopefully it finishes in 90 minutes, because I don't think my heart could take extra time.
No, you'll be all right. So, and then everyone switch over for the boxing.
Is it fair to say that this is potentially Lawrence Okolie's biggest fight and potentially his last fight at cruiserweight, given the current seed in the cruiserweight division?
Not last fight at cruiserweight, because I really want him to unify, but without doubt the toughest fight of his career so far. I mean, Sislak is an elite cruiserweight. He's a very, very good fighter. Now, there is the argument with Okolie that he hasn't yet boxed an elite cruiserweight. Glowacki's a good fighter, but he's not in his prime. Sislak is in his prime. This is a real fight, and it's going to be a tough fight for him.
Just a little bit more about the undercard. Obviously, you've got Galaliafai making his debut. What's the reason behind pushing him into these 10 rounders, fighting for these titles?
Do you really want to watch someone as good as Galaliafai fight someone that has absolutely no chance over 6 rounds? Now, I'm not saying that we no longer have to give young fighters easy fights on their debuts and stuff like that. But if you're an Olympian, if you're a gold medalist, if you've got the kind of ability that these guys have got, especially if you want to make noise, then why not go out and do something different? Fighting a 10-round fight for a championship belt. Like, that's the difference. And Galaliafai is going to stand out because of that. He's so good, this kid. Tune in and watch him on Sunday.
I had the privilege to be at Card versus Brook last week, a brilliant main event. I do agree with you when you say it should have been done 5-6 years ago. It would have been a better fight. There seems to be a little bit of needle between yourself and Adam Smith. Firstly, Eddie, what's your thoughts on the progress that Sky Sports have made since they've taken over their new part of the journey?
I don't think there's any progress to the shows, but I think it's a progress of the commitment to the sport, which is brilliant, by the way, for boxing. I mean, they've got, I think, obviously, we left Sky and they decided, right, we want to battle back, which is great for them, and they've made a big commitment to boxing, which I think is good. It's very different. I mean, the fight at the weekend was an interesting fight. I watched it. I enjoyed the main event. The undercard was terrible. If I would have put that undercard on, I'd have been shot. But nothing's really changed at Sky other than they've decided to give boxing a real go and make it a priority, which again is good for boxing. Adam and I speak all the time. He messages me, a couple of times a week, and we're actually due a catch up. And I love Adam, and we're just competitive. I'm no longer with Sky with boxing. I'm with Sky with darts and many other sports, but not with boxing, and I'm with DAZN. So the competitive nature is good, and the competitive nature is what's made Sky actually try on the boxing, which I think is great for everybody.
Tyson Fury versus Dillon Whyte. We're just waiting for the final announcement in terms of dates and venues. But what makes you so confident that Dillon Whyte will beat Tyson Fury?
I think it's a tough fight. I think he's an underdog in the fight, but I just know he has the ability and the attributes to beat him. He has the equaliser with a left hook. He can punch with both hands. He's incredibly tough. He's very, very durable and fit, and he's got a great engine. And I think he can beat him, but it's going to be a very tough fight.
Given the fact that he's the away fighter and he's a fighter that represents Matchroom in DAZN, are you going to be sort of pushing him to make sure he does it inside the distance and not look to get a judge's decision?
No, I think that we always hope we get a fair crack at the whip with the judges, and one of our inputs in that will be to make sure that we do, and that's in terms of the selection of the judges, in terms of where they're from. Don't forget, Tyson Fury doesn't have a British Boxing Board of Control licence, so he's coming as a foreign fighter for this fight. So who are the judges, how will they be selected, make sure there's a good referee in this fight as well. So we'll be making sure we got Dillon Whyte's back in many different situations.
Has there been any updates with the rematch potentially between Anthony Joshua and Alexander Usyk? Usyk was here during the week for the Chelsea game in the Champions League. What can you tell us about what goes on next between those two?
No, I mean, look, we've had a number of offers from different sites. We're going through them at the moment with Alex Krasuk, and obviously they want to go where the most money is, and we'd like to do it in London, but we'll see what works out over the next couple of weeks.
One final one, Eddie, before I let you go. It was at this building where you did the Josh Taylor versus Rejay Pro Grey Undercard press conference, and of course the main event press conference. And at that time, Tyson Fury had sort of landed a contract with the WWE. Last weekend I see Logan Paul make his debut with the WWE. It seems like every time we have to come to this venue, a boxer's going over to the WWE. What's your thoughts of Logan Paul going over to the WWE?
Yeah, it's good. I mean, that's obviously a massive business, a massive brand. So if they want any of our fighters to come over to the WWE, we're ready.
Would you fancy Anthony Joshua's chance in the Royal Rumble?
No, I'll have a go. There's a few. Was it Big Daddy? Like, remember him? Giant Haystacks. That's me with a chest hair.
Eddie Hearn, thank you for talking to us.
Thank you.